The IDF carried out another operation wherein they neutralized another top commander of the terrorist organization, Hamas. The Israel Defense Forces also announced that 9 Israeli soldiers were killed while fighting in northern Gaza against the Hamas terrorists. The statement highlighted that 2 infantry soldiers were seriously wounded. Meanwhile, Israeli army carried out airstrikes in a Hamas-ruled camp wherein it killed a top commander of the terrorist organization, Ibrahim Biari. According to the IDF, the commander was responsible for October 7 surprise attacks on Israel, where a number of civilians were killed while several others were made hostages. It is essential to note here that the Hamas terrorists have taken shelter and are using civilians as shields in refugee camps, thus making the innocent civilians vulnerable to attacks. They fully were aware of the consequences it might lead to. A few days back, it was also revealed that Hamas terror group has its installations under Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, thus clearly suggesting that terrorists do not care about the innocent civilians at all. It is the same hospital where Hamas terrorists had misfired rockets which claimed more than 500 lives. The latest attacks resulted in loss of almost 50 lives. Hamas terrorists continue to take shelters in schools, hospitals, refugee camps, under tunnels, endangering and taking undue advantage of civilians. In order to discuss the Israel-Hamas war, White House stated that the United States President Joe Biden spoke to Jordan's leader. Biden and King Abdullah II discussed urgent mechanism to stem violence, calm rhetoric and reduce regional tensions. Both the leaders agreed that it is critical to ensure that Palestinians are not forcibly displaced. Significantly, the United States President vowed unwavering support for Jordan and His Majesty's leadership. On the other hand, Iran's mission to the United Nations warned that militias like those of Houthi rebels will continue attacking Israel and blamed the American administration, saying that it is only the latter who could stop it. The statement by the Iranian envoy came after Houthis claimed responsibility for missiles fired at Eilat, a city in Israel, which were then shot down by the Israeli military. The IDF also announced that they thwarted the aerial threat near Eilat. IDF spokesperson, Rear Administration Daniel Hagari, in a briefing on Tuesday, stated that the Israeli military has attacked hundreds of Hamas targets overnight using ground and air forces. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is set to visit Israel again on Friday for meeting members of the Israeli government and will also be visiting other regions in the Middle East, said the State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller.